Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show we are going to have James. James from Scotland in the UK. So let's see what James has to say. Enjoy the interview. So hello James, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Quite exciting watching some of your podcasts back on YouTube.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
Bringing the energy, man. That's what I did today. I was like, that man's got energy.
Yes, I think the show it brings the best of people. I think sitting here and talk to people around the globe is the best feeling ever. I think
Yeah.
it's a great place to be for sure.
And well done, well done. Just like randomly reaching out.
Yeah,
Our podcast is a bit different, but I'm certainly going to be taking some ideas away for you. That's and
of course.
I'll will always compliment them back. But aye, fair play. I've never seen anything like this done like that. So yes, very unique. I love it.
Amazing. So tell me, how is your day going so far?
Yeah, my day's good. It's always busy. I'm a 4 o'clock in the morning guy, so I get a lot out of it. I am an autistic ADHD. I'm an artist, story writer, loads of other stuff. But I'm always there, like fighting the fight of neurodivergency. It just seems that's a part of me that's unleashed these wee parts. So it's good to pay homage back to it.
Amazing. I wake up at 4 today as well to go to the gym before work.
Nice, man. Good for you.
I'm an early bird. I'm an early bird. I love to see the day ahead. I love to see the
Yeah.
day waking up like this fresh air. It brings the best of me. I love it.
And you get so much out of the day. And I'm only saying this because I'm 43 this year. You would not have me out my bed before at least 10 o'clock in the morning in a previous life.
Tell me where you're from, James.
So I'm originally from the west coast of Scotland, but I live in it is England, but we're right on the Scottish border. So it's literally like you could throw a stone and that's you in Scotland. So I didn't run away too far.
So tell me something interesting about your hometown, where you're from.
So this is an interesting fact that I only found out a few years back. So we have a building and our headquarters over the border in Scotland, in Kelso. And I went a walk one day, and the abbey that's there now, these are like old. I don't know what it says. It's like AD or I don't know. They're old. So I did a wee bit of homework because I'm always questioning why I'm in these places and why I'm looking. It turns out from my hometown, Kilwinning, it has the same abbey, the same kind of brickwork which led me there, and they're both built by the same man. They're sister abbeys.
Wow.
Weird, but if there's ever something that says that you are in the right place at this moment in time, I'll take that. I'll take that as a win.
That's amazing. And all your
Right.
family live there still?
So we've got a small family. My son lives there, and my sister and her two kids, and an uncle, my dad. So
My God,
yeah,
you have fun.
they still there. Yeah, he's 22 on Thursday. Yeah, so I'm going back to see him.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, you have a 22-year-old son.
Yeah, I don't sit in the sun. Age has taken my hair, but it's gifted me at least. I'll say I look about 38. I'll take that as a win.
That's amazing. Oh my God, that's great. I think, having a child, a grown-up child now for you,
Yeah,
I think it's a blessing. I'm sure you have a lot of stories to tell, learn a lot of lessons, and I think it's a beautiful thing for sure.
definitely lessons, that's for sure.
And what do you do for work for a living, James?
So, like I say, I am neurodivergent. So
Hmm?
my story is addiction. So 5 years ago, this 7th of July, I gave up alcohol and drugs. And I used to tell people I could paint and draw, but if I'm being honest with myself, I had never painted or drawn. So when I got sober on the 7th of July. On about, let's say, the 10th or 12th, I was tidying up and found an art set. So I
Wow.
wondered, if I'm lying to myself about that, then I decided to try and paint something. I painted a cockerel, and lo and behold, I can paint. So it
That's
was
amazing.
like the job I do just now is I'm an artist, I'm an author, I write books, I illustrate, do. I try and do all of the above. But who'd have thought that was lying there suppressed until I'm all about a journey, until I was ready. So now I am, let's say, a creative because it falls under so many windows. We do
Totally.
podcasts, we do painting, I do kids' books, etc., and do visits. So I'm very fortunate that I have something that I really enjoy doing, but it's taken me 42 years to get it.
I love it.
So yeah,
I love your story. I think sometimes you go through difficult challenge times, you know, and
Yeah.
suddenly when you decide to take a different path, that's where the magic happens. And I think that's
100%.
beautiful. That's where you can find. Fun enough, you just made me remember a story now. I had a lovely man here on the show from the US last year, I think, and he said something very interesting. He started his career when at 50 years old, he started to go through all his painting and everything after a very drastic breakup.
Wow.
You see, sometimes I don't know, sometimes life, you know, put us in this position for us to go through very dark, and suddenly you just, you know, reborn again. And it was beautiful. And what just said, I totally understand. Sometimes
I think, you know, like, you know, in order for darkness, light is useless without a bit of darkness. And, you know, you need it. It is so much, and you shine so much brighter. But, you know, as you go along, let's say you're the torch, and you need to choose who your batteries are when you're putting them back in. It's so important when you get there. And as I say, I'm fortunate that I managed to finally find something after all the years.
And I think, you know, through those difficult times, you always learn a lesson, you become a better person, you become more compassionate, to understand more others as well. And I think that's there's always a meaning behind about situations in life, for sure.
But if you miss them, you know, there's opportunities, and you know, I'm a wee bit older now, but you always, if you miss that opportunity, you're not meant to have it at that moment in time. I really, only in the last couple of years, I've really started to understand that. And it's one of the things where, you know, when you were younger, you would just give the yeah, but whereas now it's like, I get that. Yeah.
Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Yes, let's do it.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I have here my best friend. Random questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play a song just for us to relax before the first question. Okay? Amazing. Let's do it. Right, so before, yes, you can always dance with me. So before we start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to answer, don't want to talk about, always can change, okay?
Okay.
Amazing. First question is, what gives you butterflies?
Oh, so like as I said earlier, you know, the getting up, this is a true answer. I am 100% so transparent. Seeing the joy, so when I got this new life that I have, seeing the other joy of other people's lives lighting up, I cannot explain it. As an autistic ADHD human, I don't fully understand love. But when I see people get whatever it is they're getting in life with just a wee gentle nudge, it's unreal. Honestly, that really makes me excited. It gets me out of my bed in the morning. But there's a saying that people say, you give away freely what was given to you. And when you give away that tiny bit, the possibilities, and to just see somebody else get it. And, you know, I'm not making this, that's just one of the things. It's like a gift that you can give away. For me, that's so important. And I love seeing people get it. And not everybody does get it. But yeah, that's my wee thing.
Saying that, what's the biggest joy of being James? What do you like the most about being you?
So the biggest joy of being me is the fact is that I get to live now. For years and years and years, all I've done is survive. Now I get to be somebody who I've always, let's put it another way. The guy in the mirror, I like him now. I really, really like him. So when I see him and I think, and I always give myself a wee nod, and in the most congratulated way, not like humble, and I just say, well done. But there's still more to be done, because there's always that tiny wee bit that you can do. And yeah, that's how I kind of base my journey.
Beautiful. Love it. Next question. Let's do it. Hey, James from Scotland. Next question is, how do you make friends? So
this will be a two-answer one. I love that this is the rehearsed, because these are just genuine. So being autistic and ADHD, that seems where I'm going tonight. It's like I make friends very easy, but not real friends. You know, people want to take this energy that we seem to give, like, and they don't come along to join your journey for the right reason. They come along to test it. And that's something as younger me growing up has always struggled with, like being the funny guy, masking, pretending. Whereas now I'm just totally genuine. I have maybe 4, 5, 6 genuine friends that you can trust and be in with. So it's harder, but I'm open. I'm always open for people. But what I'm finding in my relatively older part of my life is that yes, some people do test you and come along, but how are you going to take that chance? But in the same sense, this is the second part. I can be the most loneliest guy in the world in a massive crowd. Like I've done acting and stuff, but and I can still, and I've always been like that. I embrace it now instead of going, oh, but it's a lonely gig, but I'm not alone. And it's like, it's lonely, but I'm not alone because I have a few people who are friends and you can confide in. I guess that comes with the getting a wee bit older.
Yeah, and I get your point. And sometimes you can have a lot of friends around, true friends, people that you can lay on.
Yeah.
However, sometimes you have this loneliness feeling.
Mhm.
Me too as well, actually.
Mhm.
I have lovely people around me. I can call. I have so many people that I can call anytime. They're gonna be there for me to listen to me, whatever. However, sometimes it
Mhm.
hits you, this loneliness
It does,
moments,
yeah.
and actually sometimes they're quite healthy as well because
Yeah.
somehow you are understand yourself better. You kind of are, it comes from a good place. I think it's something there.
Yeah.
It's not a negative thing. It's just a feeling that naturally comes. And I put like a melancholic song to make even
Mhm.
better.
Well, see, it's like I'm a bit gets colours, like I'm wearing blue today because it was quite a kind of miserable day. I use colours to guide. Generally, if it's a really, really good day, I use orange. Orange is a colour that really seems to give me this
Mm,
kind of happiness feeling. So it's the same as music, but I can sit for like maybe a couple hours in silence. And that's like you embrace, like you say, and embracing the loneliness.
it's amazing.
Whereas younger me was probably a wee bit more too into, hormones growing up or that thing. So I
Yeah,
didn't fully understand it. I still don't. I guess I never will, but
of course.
I just embrace it.
I think it's amazing to do that because somehow you're enjoying this loneliness, which is amazing as well. You know what I mean? And it's just a moment. It goes one point. It's just a moment that we feel like this way. And I think it's a
Yeah.
gift because it means you're alive. You are exploring different feelings. I think that's great. Which person in your life you feel more connected with or more close to right now?
In my entire life, I have a best friend, and her name's Jan, and she really wants to. She gets to know, like being neurodivergent. It's hard because you're navigating through the world, and you keep everything so close. I guess that's where the loneliness gets. And I guess unless you're neurodivergent, you wouldn't really understand how the brain works. So when you're somebody who doesn't understand how your own brain works, but somebody else wants to know, I guess you just shut down. Whereas, this woman's became an ally, a best friend, and her husband's also a good friend, and I think, I put my trust in somebody because past tense, you're putting your trust in people, and yeah, let's just say it doesn't work out. But as long as I keep my side of the street clean, even with these negative people, then that's all right. So she's like my ally and a good friend.
Okay, so she's watching this interview right now and you have a moment, an opportunity to send her a message. What would you say? She's watching.
So I'd say, Jan, there's some tough times that I see you try and understand the neurodivergence part of myself. And that's all right. Sometimes it's hard for me to even try and understand it, but to know that somebody else is there listening and watching and being there, that in itself is powerful. It's
Oh,
more powerful and the most powerful gift you could ever give anybody. So for that, I will be eternally grateful.
oh, sweet. Send my regards to her, okay?
I will do it.
Next question. Right. So before the next question, tell me what's the biggest joy of being an artist, being a creative person? What do you like the most about it?
So this is a true fact. So for me, I've always been told no. Like the story I'm about to tell you. So as a youngster, I was quite an unruly boy. Let's say I went to a lot of schools. School wasn't really for me, but an art teacher told me that. In fact, they didn't tell me. I overheard them say, "This boy's he won't amount to anything. He's a useless human being." Now you would think, and I did past tense, that would really really grind my gears, which it did. But I'm all about forgiveness. So when I got sober on the 7th of July and found I could paint, I thought about that. Now, I didn't let it stay inside my mind for too long, but she actually gave me a gift. The gift to want to try this and go, why is it that I've suppressed myself? Because it sure wasn't her. It was myself. And what's my part to play in that? So as an artist now, going forward, we still get told no, there's still negativity, there's still horrible people, but I don't live there. They're actually giving me the strength to get to this invisible next level. And we set up our own school. So we're AQ accredited, which means we can accredit youngsters, adults, in the eyes of Jagat 82. That's one of the biggest gifts. I'm all about giving away because I sure as heck receive. And that's it's not selfish to get that, but it's selfish if you keep it. You need to give it away. And so that's my biggest role. And that's what the motto for us is inspire to be inspired. That's the logo. And that's where it came from, that question you just asked.
I love it. Wow. And the flip side, what do you find most challenging about your career as an artist?
Challenging. So other people would see it from this point of view, like I've sold thousands of paintings, but we do a lot and we put the money into whatever it is we are doing for the community. It's so much like that. But the hardest part is people always say, oh, but you need to eat and you need money. Yes. But what about the more powerful thing by, like I've said, giving stuff away? So the hard part is money, being neurodivergent and being a human and being James, it doesn't make me tick. I can sit in my studio and sit and create something for nobody. All of a sudden, somebody will go, oh, I really like that. That in itself is the same as somebody getting something and getting life injected into them in the next minute. That's the same thing. But here's the beauty of that, William. That's a part of me. These paintings are a part of me. So you're literally giving away something that is you. And that took me years to understand. There was one man that had said to me, like, you give your all, but sometimes when people go away, they don't have something. I'm like, I'm going to make a business of this. And that's what we do. That's a genuine story where that came. And his name's Chris. And that just, it transcended when we started this. So
amazing. All right. Okay, next question is, if you could make up a new school subject, what that would be?
Yes, so a school subject for me or for others would be self-reflection. Now, putting some self-care for yourself should be taught at a young age, not just because I'm neurodivergent, but neurotypical humans. Like, to me, I was brought up in a woman household, so I have I'm a male, but I'm more like inclined. My mum was mum, dad, uncle, and I had my sister there as well. So, I have that wee extra bit. So that's something that should be shared with everybody, like self-care, whatever it looks like. But from a young age, we should be taught that self-care is important just as much as money and all the other things that everybody thinks. It's worth more than that. But if you install that in younger people and say, if you look after yourself and you do this, like I go to the beach and I meditate, but it's always at like 4 or 5 in the morning because there's nobody else there. That's my time, you know what I mean? It's like, but if you tell that to a youngster, they're like, oh, I'm in my bed at that time. But that would be, self-care should be taught at schools. It really should. And just that people would get it. It would make people a wee bit more considerate as well. And if it doesn't happen now, then it's like, well, it needs to happen sometime.
I like that. And also, actually, I think that encourage people to be more secure about themselves. I think they will be more confident, you know what I mean? And some, growing up, I think all of us will have those barriers, things that we don't understand. We feel, connect. Some people can point at us about things that we cannot understand. And I think that's, this topic would be great because they will be more comfortable about themselves and be more sure about who they are.
And others, they would have a lot of time for other people because through reflection to yourself, you find that, other people may be going through that. So you become more sympathetic.
Totally. Yeah. Next question, ready? Let's
Ready?
do it. Next one. You're a good dancer, I can see. Okay. Next question is, tell us something that you have done that you feel very proud of yourself.
Sobriety. It's not for everybody. So there's like, I was saying to somebody today, is like, you get clean and sober. So you give up the lifestyle, you give up the alcohol, and you find in every day you must become that better version of yourself, good or bad. But you find yourself, and there's different layers, and I'm very, very proud of that. It's the most important thing I've done because all this other stuff that I've been saying wouldn't be here had I not did that. And I'm thankful to people who helped me as well. But most of all, I'm thankful to myself, which is unselfish because I took this and did it for myself. But you get and you find out why you do, why you're alcohol. You're like, oh, I'm autistic and I'm ADHD, which I already knew, but I didn't want to tell the world. So then you keep that for a wee while, and then you come out to the world and be so transparent that what's the worst that happens, You're
Totally.
still here. You're the version that you've always wanted to be. And like I said, I like the guy in the mirror now. So I see me for who I am. So that's one of the most proudest thing I've done.
Love that. And I think, everyone who goes through that, they need to be proud of themselves for sure. Because as you said, you can have lovely people around you trying to show you the right path, trying to encourage you for the, the right decisions. However, if it doesn't come from you, if you don't feel like, okay, it's time now, or,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. So totally understand. With 3 questions left. Let's do it. Right, next question is, which bad habits wish you could stop?
So this will be quite a hard one. So alcohol, smoking, sugar to a certain extent, energy juices, and gambling. I've gave them all up just because that's how the roll it went. But
Mhm.
I love eating. That's my thing. But I'm not selfish to myself. I do like eating. Bad habits would be the mornings when you know that you should get up because it's nice outside, like the 4 o'clock in the morning where you procrastinate and you sit on your phone and you go on Zoom and you go on TikTok and you don't go, and then you miss the sunrise, which is at 4:27 right now. That's a bad habit that I need to kick because there's missing so much of the world that I'm in my bed. So yeah.
At least knowing that you already know it, so it's halfway of the improvement.
Yeah.
To get there. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Okay, before the next question, you mentioned a few times about, being an autist and also ADHD. So tell me, what's something that you've learned having those? What's something that's have taught you so far? And tell me, what do you find most challenging about it? Dealing with, if you can share.
Yeah, of course. So I've always wanted to write a book. So when I got sober and did all that stuff, I decided that I was going to write a book. So I wrote a book in the form of a small mouse, which is the most smallest insignificant character in the book, but the most important. And that small character then went around and he did his thing, and it's a magical story in the area based on real people but made into small characters. And in that story, I'm really giving my whole entire self, as in like I'm the mouse, and the people were real. These were based on real things that happened. So a plus side was that I could write it and put me in it. And then the second story is it's actually my sobriety story as well inside there. And then the third story, which I wasn't prepared, was that I wrote it in a style that I'm ADHD. So see the way I speak, that's the way I write. And the negative part is that I'm dyslexic. So when I was doing the books and I printed the first couple of copies, there was loads of spelling mistakes. Now that really, when people were saying, there's spelling mistakes, and it was like school again, and it really shuddered. But again, I learned from that. I got somebody to fix them and do. And then somebody, I wrote 4 books, so I've just finished the last one. It's out there. But when I wrote them, somebody reached out and said, you've wrote that as a neurodivergent. Can I ask you? And I was like, wow, a third story inside this that I didn't even know about. And she said, because like some chapters are long, some are short. And that was how I felt that day.
Wow.
And the original book that I wrote that saw dyslexic or different words before it was even attempted to be edited, I sent that to a dyslexic school and they can read it. So I was being taught that I didn't even know that people with dyslexia can read dyslexic writing.
Wow.
How is that? That blew my mind. It's like, I couldn't believe that. Going through that, I had to go through and listen to people say, there was one woman who had said, "This your book has got spelling mistakes in it," and I'm like, "What?" But I did say to her, and I was quite quick on my feet. I said, the Harry Potter book that has all the mistakes in it. Do you know that's worth £1 million now? I mean, we can take your book back, and give you your money back, or you can give. She kept it.
Of course she did. Of course.
Yeah.
So tell me something. You have 4 books out right now. What's your books have taught you so far?
So what's the books brought me?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
what they taught you, like what's writing those books, put it all together. When you look back, you go like, okay, I've learned a lesson out of those beautiful
was
books.
like the lessons are, so I illustrated the first ones myself, and loads of mistakes, loads of this and that. But the lessons is, one, this is where the lesson where it costs money to do these things. The other lesson was that the process takes that length of time, because it takes that length of time. So when I wrote the first book, I then realised that you can put that into everything. Paintings take that length, and now this is me educating myself as a ADHD, fast thinking, constant. But I have to come up with my own ideas. So that was the thing that set me free from the putting pressure on myself. Paintings, doing that, slow it down, and you can really tell in each individual book. But then as I got to the second book, I thought, this would be nice to give it away to somebody as well. So what I did was I built a wee team and asked them if they would like to illustrate it. So you're sharing the knowledge straight away, and then that led to us obviously putting the school and doing that. And as a writer, it just this was the other thing. It's very hard to get published in this world. So after remember me telling you that I've always been told no, which was fine. We'll still look, but in the meantime, we opened up our own publishing company. So it was like, let's just do it ourselves. Why are we waiting for people? So it led me down that path. So we are now instructing people. We have somewhere where prints them. We'll help them with editing. We'll help them publish them. And we're working with we've not told anybody yet, but we're working with a small group of kids who are at our Junior Jag Art Academy. They are between ages 5 and 15. There's 6 of them. And they are writing their own book, illustrating their own book, and we're going to publish it under the Junior Jag Art Academy. So that's a big gift, to be able to do something, learn, and then go forward. It's fascinating.
Wow. Amazing. Very good. Next question is, do you have any nicknames?
Well, so it seems as if I'm going back down it. So my name's James Alexander Gaffney. My name growing up was Jim. My nickname is Gaffers. I think that's the only two. But then my son was born, and now his friends call him Gaffers. So I step down, I hand it over, and I just become James Alexander. That's my first name.
Wow.
And occasionally somebody will call me Jim, and I'll be like, that's somebody from my old hometown. Who is this?
As you mentioned your son a few times, tell me what's the biggest joy of being a dad?
So now that I'm sober and I've had like 5 years, and he didn't see that he didn't see any of this going on. So, when he was 18 on his birthday, I decided to tell him, listen, I'm an alcoholic, I had a problem and I've got help. And, he could see that I kind of shattered his wee world for a bit. But he has an understanding, because I said, if there's anything you want to talk about, the father and son bond should be close. I get it, I'm a long way away. But, we were always close. If there's anything, whether it be a certain or alcohol that you want to know how it makes you feel, let me know. I'm not saying I'll be able to know, but it's nice to know that you can come and you can let me know. But kids need to go and do their own thing. He's 22 on Thursday. He's not a bad kid. He'll get up to the things that I don't know about. I'm a man of the world. It's like, these things are there. But just blessed that he's never went through the problems I did when I was younger. But again, now we've just spoken, it leads you somewhere. So I have the wisdom to be able to have a proper conversation. And when you're sober and become the best version of yourself, it's the right conversation. So yeah, I'm going to spend a few days up in Ayrshire and see him. So I'm looking forward to it.
As they say, we raise the children to the world, not to ourselves. And sometimes, like we did and still do, we go through life to learn lessons, and they need to learn those lessons as well. Of course, you're not hoping, expecting that they had hard times. However, some daily message that their life through to us, we need to go through that, because it's just the way we get strong and learn lessons.
How we did it that way in our own version. It's like I say to people, you only get one shot in this world, but if we do it right, once is enough. Once is enough, man.
Last question. Ready? Let's do it. Let's fun. Okay, before the last question, I'm gonna put to the spot now. As you have, your art, so tell me if you could pick one, just for any reason, it could be for one of piece of your art that you've done that for some reason, it's, of course, I'm sure all of them, they have a story to tell, all of them, they're a meaning behind, they are your love, your passion. But if you could pick one for any reason, which one that would be?
So when I got honest with the world and I told the world I came out as autistic as well as ADHD, I started to paint these bright coloured squares, and I combined this is probably kind of cheating, but I combined the writing and the painting, and these are the obstacles that I have to face every single day before I get out of my bed. But as long
Wow.
as I keep dodging them and keep doing what I do and keep my side of the street clean, I'll be able to do it. And incidentally, I painted a guitar for Lewis Capaldi with the same
Wow.
blocks. So he owns one of them.
Oh,
It's been some journey. So it's nice to be able to pass that on. I mean, I wrote
amazing.
some words to him that would mean to him, but to me, it's like showing somebody else that these are blocks we navigate through everyday life. It's something that I would never have thought about. But at least like we're talking there, and it's like the loneliness. I would not have been able to create these things. It's like all these places where we have galleries. That wouldn't have happened had I not at least bumped into one of those barriers and then went. There's always two paths in the world. A good man said to me, and whether it be the left path you take or the right path, and one's right, one's wrong. Either way, they will always bring you back to where you need to be, and that's how I
That's
live
amazing.
my
I
daily
like
tasks.
that. I like that.
Mhm.
Wow, great. Last question for you is, what's the biggest difference between you and your best friends?
So me, they don't live the life 500 miles an hour, but fair play, they try, they keep up, but they bring they bring their qualities to what I do, and I bring my qualities to them. That's something I've never had when I've been growing up, having people who are, let's put it this way: if you put four of us who are artists, creatives, writers in the room, if I sit next to one of them long enough, my art will change, and I let it. I love the fact is that the subconscious learning, and that's what
Oh,
these amazing people, that's what they do. They bring to the table a certain joy and a certain happiness that I could never have got for alcohol or drugs or people, because people can take. Whereas the circle that I've got, it may be small, but these are people who give. They give time, which is more important to me than money, but they also give their knowledge. That's what my friends bring to the table, and I could not do what I do without them.
wow.
100%.
And the biggest similarity?
Biggest similarity. So for a few, they are artists, totally different artists to me. And the lifestyle, the life I've had before is a lot different for here. Like when I was younger, I was in care, I was taken into the care system, and I'm open with my story, but they've not had that life. But the differences add up because I am honest. These guys like protect me without protecting me, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So that becomes like a safety barrier of kindness, I suppose. I've never thought it like that.
amazing. Very good. It's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give
Mhm.
away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Okay, let's
Yeah.
start with family,
Close.
money,
Poor.
fear,
Anger.
life,
Expanded.
love,
Confused.
religion,
Undecided.
sex.
Hard work.
And until you get there, it's hard work for sure. Love it. Politics,
Stay out of.
friendship,
New.
desire,
Sacrificed.
regret,
Always.
success,
Getting there.
wish,
Mm, try. I try.
happiness.
Soon.
Oh, one word for Scotland.
That's a hard one because I've been away for that long, but it's deep.
Okay.
Scotland's deep. It's deep.
One word for artist.
Messy.
One word for Jag Art 82.
Learning.
Amazing. Okay, let's pretend now I'm going to meet your lovely friend Jane, the one you mentioned on the show, for a coffee, and I'm going to ask her, define James in one positive and one negative word only. What should say about you?
Always happy.
Mm-hmm.
Secret. Well, I am a secretive person.
Are you a Scorpio star sign, astrology?
Yes, I am. I am a
Of
Scorpio.
course. I knew
Yes,
it.
I love that.
I'm Scorpio as well. And they
Yeah.
say Scorpio, they are very secretive. They have two lives. The one that they want people to see and the secret one. And it makes sense. I mean, actually, you talk about loneliness, about skin. It's something about Scorpio as well. And which day are you?
So I am the 8th of November, 1982.
Oh, I'm 17th of November.
Ah, nice.
I'm gonna share a fun fact with you about Scorpios. Once a lovely lady, she was astrologer, and she was very into astrology. And once she said something very interesting that I never thought about. Said, William, they did a research in history, and they said it's a fact. They said that the most like danger people in history, like murders, people who did a lot of bad things in the world, they were Scorpio. However, the other people, like the wisdom people, the people who left their marks in the world, Pablo Picasso is Scorpio. So, so she said, William, Scorpio, they have these two directions. They have this thing about this prohibited thing. However, they can leave their mark in the world. There is something about Scorpio that is very intriguing. And people, they go like, oh, Scorpio, they're scared. But at the same time, it's because we have this, we are very secretive. There's this sexual thing about Scorpio that people, they wonder, they go like, there's it's a mystery there. So, she was telling me that. I was like, oh my God, I never thought about that.
I like that. That's funny. I did not know that about Picasso. My cat's name's Picasso. It's my favorite artist. Picasso is my cat's name.
Yeah, he's 28th of October, Pablo Picasso. I just found out the other day that he's also a Scorpio. And there's so many names like in history that those big people that they're Scorpio as well. So it makes sense when she told me this fact, that this research they did about this, and she said that, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I never knew that, and I think it's an interesting fact. Yeah,
I like that. I like the mystery because I found there's other Scorpios as well. It's funny you say that.
We are very intuitive, very intuitive. I don't know if it happened to you, but for me, I could write a book just with situations that I thought about someone, they just appeared out of nowhere. I thought about someone, they just send me a message.
Yes.
At work, sometimes sometimes I go like, oh my God, that is a bit scary sometimes. I literally think about someone and literally they just appear out of nowhere. And I go like, oh my God, why you just appeared right now? I was about to send you a message on Teams. I was about to talk about you and suddenly you just appeared.
And it's funny, like, that would be the conversation that me and Jan have. And see, because she's there all the time and I mention something and it happens, it's like, wow, you've got the gift.
Yes, it's all about Scorpio. Scorpio, we have this intuition, very strong, and it's very interesting. Cool.
Love that.
Right, you can ask me a question now.
Yes, right. So, William, are you ready?
Yes, I think I am.
So, if you could go back to any age, what age would you go back to and why?
Great question, actually, great question. I'll tell you something before. I love every age I am. I think it's a beauty for every decade, every age we are in. When I look back, I never had problem of aging. I see aging as a beautiful thing. It's an opportunity, something that, sadly, some people, they don't have the chance for different reasons. And I see aging as a beautiful thing. I embrace every age I am. I love it. But back to your question, when you said that, I think I would go back when I was 19-year-old to this moment, because it was the moment when I left Brazil on my own. When I was 19, I left Brazil and I came all the way to Europe on my own. When I lived in Portugal, and after I moved to England. So I will tell this age because this age, it's an age that's it's literally um, changed my life. Everything completely changed. You know, this young boy back in Brazil, full of dreams, always been a dreamer, always been this person who would love to become a better person, to find opportunities in life, to help my family back in Brazil. I always had that. And suddenly, when I had this opportunity, when 19-year-old, I didn't think twice. When I look back, I was like, my God, I was 19. My God, that's so young. I wouldn't, I don't, if I have a son or a daughter, I don't think I would be able to let them go that far. However, I'm so grateful that life had this opportunity for me, because at this age, you know, back in Brazil, I was already living on my own, but I had plan B. My parents, they were 2 hours away from me. So anything happened, there's always a plan B. However, when I arrived in Portugal with 19-year-olds, there's no plan B anymore, just plan A. So imagine, so for me, that was a time of my life that at the time I didn't think that, because you know when you're 19 full of energy, just want, you think you can do anything, you are just, you know, have this. And I love that. And I look back like, my God, I love this passion I had, like I still have, but there was something about that age that was full of great energy. And but you know, that was a age that when I look back now, I'm like, my God, that was a age that, my goodness, it literally leaving your parents, leaving your family back in Brazil, your culture, you come to Europe with a totally different, you know, culture. Even though Portugal speak Portuguese, completely different from Brazil. However, I would go for that age because it was a time of my life that was a lot of you know, things happening, this, you know, this adventure that life present to me. And I'm grateful for life because of that. And so yes, I would say 19, just to live again that moment in my life that I was scary, I was feeling scary, I was feeling happy, I was feeling excited, I was feeling, you know, everything you can imagine I felt during that age, 19. You know what I mean? It's great. So, yeah, it was a great age for
Well,
sure.
it's a two-parter. So the second part is that you just went back to that age. So that's my gift to you. You know, you can go back when you tell somebody that, yes, time travel doesn't exist, but you can go back there like you just did. You could tell because you were
Yeah.
smiling and being happy. So that's my wee gift to you. So
Yeah, I think that was, as I said, embracing age, going, you know, it's a beauty. Sometimes you don't see it. I'm sure in
yeah.
10 years I'm gonna look back, go like, oh my God, I have some memories from my age right now, you know, I'll feel excited as well.
It's
So
like
it,
it's like change. You know, I'm always about telling people that risk, as somebody who is a new artist, you have to take a risk. How are you going to know there's any difference? You know, the risk and change
yeah,
are two things that you have to go for. Yeah,
absolutely. And you need to get, you know, life is about risking. Of course, you need to be, you know, it's not about, okay, do whatever. It's not like that. But sometimes if you follow your intuition, if you follow your heart, if you follow your heart, your intuition, trust me, it can go right. It just go right because you're following. Sometimes you know when it's wrong. We know that's not going to happen. Sometimes just your intuition just tells you, you know
yeah,
what I mean? But I think you just need to ask yourself, okay, do you feel like it's great? Even though you feel the butterflies, but when I feel the butterflies, is a good sign. It means I'm going to the right direction. Because if I don't feel the butterflies, it doesn't mean anything. So you need to have these butterflies in your tummy to show you, you know what, it's scary, but go. Because if you feel scary, if your intuition is telling you to go,
yeah.
just do it.
I think as well, like also it's like to tell yourself no as well, you know, if it doesn't feel right, instead of be that's the thing with youth, we get railroaded
Yeah,
into it and you're like, you know, and like you say, I like that terminology with the butterflies. Because if
yeah,
it didn't feel the butterflies, then what's the point? What's the
totally,
point in
totally.
going there? Exactly. That's where the individuality that everybody's losing.
As I told you, when these 19-year-olds having entered in the airplane for the very first time in my life, leaving my mom crying you know, she said
Mhm.
goodbye to my mom. She was crying in the airport, like full of emotions. And I was in the airplane going to another continent where I never been before. Imagine the butterflies here. It was like, toof,
Yeah,
toof,
yeah.
toof, toof. You know, those butterflies in my tongue, but I felt, no, it feels right. I'm doing the right thing. So, you know, not knowing sometimes is a powerful place to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also, you know, it's like I'm one of these wee spiritual people of the world. Now you've
Yeah.
got another concept though with the Scorpio, because I like that. But everything leads us to having this conversation, including
Awesome.
where you found me when you were on TikTok. No, this has led to this. This has led to this conversation. This is
We met,
allowed.
we met to have this interview today. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
For another
100%,
have this moment today for sure.
100%.
Did you enjoy the interview?
Yes, it's like I say, this is like new, and the energy you bring is unmatched. You know, I've
Thank,
done a lot of interviews, but the energy you bring is great. I'm hoping that I can see a lot of these coming out, and I've sent it to
thank,
the guys as well, the team. I'm like, get this watched. This is what
thank,
we need to be aiming for.
thank you so much, James. Thank you. I'll tell you something. This is the best William you can have when I'm here. That's the best William, because that's why, you know, this energy we are sharing now, because I feel the happiest when I'm here, connect with people. It's the greatest
And you
part of
can
my day.
tell, you know, you like you say, like I find that creatives, you're giving away a part of you. You didn't need to
Yeah,
reach out, you didn't need that, and that's important that somebody tells you that
absolutely.
you're giving away wee parts. So you like the painting analogy and all the other things. It's like that's the biggest gift we have, is to be able to see somebody. So you've turned the lights on in me the day by going, this is great. And I was excited and waiting, and like, you know, you got an expectation when you come on these things, but the expectation was great and you took it higher. So I mean that, like, there's no very many times at 8:15 that I'm still buzzing. Like, I'm still like, this is great for me to be able to
Oh,
just, and nothing's rehearsed. I like that. No rehearsal, no script. That's
no,
James. James
that's
loves
the
that.
that's the magic of the show. That's the magic of the show. What
Yeah.
people, you know, it's just you are sharing energy here. I think that's the beauty of the show, when people they are able to be themselves here. That's the greatest.
Yeah.
Before you go, James, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
Yeah. So in this world, we seem to be latching on to the negative and all the horrible things, but be kind to yourself. Like I said earlier, it's not unselfish or selfish for that. Be a wee bit more kind to yourself and try and give away something. You know, this is being recorded on a phone, and I will preach my own words to myself. It's a big world out there. Get yourself out, do something different. I wear odd socks just in case I don't do something different each day. That's a fact of life. I try and do something different, whether it be walk a different way, do something different. Like tomorrow, because I've been speaking to William, I will be going to the beach in the morning to try and get the sunrise. Do that
Amazing,
one thing that's different, man. That's what's going to make the difference in your day.
amazing, very good. Thanks again. Okay, regards to your friends, regards to your family and your son as well. And you keep in touch. It was a pleasure
Thank
having
you.
you on the
You as
show.
well.
Okay,
Stay blessed,
thank
man.
you.
You're an absolute gift to the world. I've really enjoyed
Yes,
myself tonight. So thank you very much, William.
thanks.
Excellent. See you
Have a
later.
good night. Okay,
You
take
too,
care.
my friend. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.